All right, welcome back to another Premodern video. This week we are playing Landy Hoath. This is the Oath Terravore deck that used Krosan Reclamation to put Replenish combo back into your deck. The land aspect of it is that it uses Mulch as its core engine. So you might recall that Dominic Harvey placed second with a Oath Replenish concept that used kind of Sylvan Library, didn't have any manlands or wastelands. So this is basically just a little bit of everything. It uses Mulch to fill your hands with Treetop Wastelands, or just in general, like hit your land drops. It has some kind of classic replenish cards that you might be used to. Access to Tide combo with Tide and Seal of Cleansing. A little bit of loot or Entomb action to get enchantments into your graveyard if your opponent doesn't trigger Oath. I went up on Enlightened Tutor because these are all great enchantments to Enlightened Tutor. So in games where you really want Oath of Druids, having 7 copies to sort of guarantee that you'll hit it on turn 2 is super important, especially against very proactive opponents. But if you are in a position where you drew your Oath, you can always Enlighten Tutor for combo pieces, just completing your Seal Tide combo or your Parallax Opalescence, Wave Opalescence combo, which helps this deck basically play fewer copies. So if you recall, the stock replenish deck basically just runs 4 copies of all these 4-mana enchantments, just because it really wants to see them, it really wants to loot them. This deck wants to see them a little bit less. It doesn't run very many blue sources. It's basically just a green-white deck splashing Parallax Tide. So playing something like 3 Parallax Tide is kind of stressful on your mana because you're just not going to have blue on turn 4 all the time. So what you can do is you can just Enlighten Tutor and get the Parallax Tide when you're ready, when you know that you've got the seal, when you've got the blue ready. You can do cute things like you can Enlighten Tutor and then Mulch something into your graveyard and then replenish, or you can Enlighten Tutor and then Attunement something in your graveyard and then replenish. You've got plenty of value replenishes. You can use Parallax Wave and replenish to just sort of perpetually fog or wrath your opponent until you are ready to lock up the game. Or, if you're just playing a mid-range game, maybe you wrath and Tide your opponent a bunch, and you just finish them off with Treetop Village attacks. Sideboard consists of some good bullet enchantments for the purpose of tutoring up, and Arcane Lab is of course insane against combo decks and Dreadnought. Tormod's Crypt, we've got Enlightened Tutor if somebody wants to jam a little Fluctuator action on you. Obviously, there are ways for them to get around Tormod's Crypt, but at least makes it hard. Karmic Justice for the grinding matchups, and of course a little bit of Respect to Burn. We have the sideboard called the Herd Pivot that allows us to turn into a more mid-range deck and take the initiative against decks that don't trigger Oath. We can just clean, board out Oath, board in Call the Herd. Wasteland, of course, to just be a little bit more wasteland dense in post-board matchups when you know your opponent has plenty of wasteland targets, and also go up to 27 lands against decks or opponents that are going to pressure your mana base to make your Mulch numbers a little bit better. Orim's Chant and Abeyance to force through your combos. Argivian Find to pick up Oath of Druids when your Cruel Goblin's opponent is trying to play control and put your opponent Oath of Druids in the graveyard, or you're getting your Oath of Druids to rest. And a little Ray of Revelation, really easy to get this into the graveyard, and just a really superb card. Clean 2 for 1 against decks that rely on enchantments, of course. One of my favorite sideboard cards. So basically just like you just do all the good stuff in green and white, and then you can also just kill your opponent or just combo them out with the full replenish combo. And I guess I should point out, if you don't know, the way the replenish combo works is that you have these 3 enchantments in play. Opalescence turns Parallax Wave into a creature. So once Parallax Wave is a creature, it can target itself. So what happens when it targets itself? Well, it has 5 fading counters. It goes down to 4, targets itself. Then its Leaf's Play trigger hits the stack, resolves, then it comes back. So that means any creature in play, you can target those creatures, put all those activations on the stack, target itself, comes back, leaves play trigger, target itself, leaves play trigger, it comes back, and then all of the exiles targeting the opponent's creatures resolve. If you target your own creatures after you target itself, you can flicker them or protect them from removal. So this card will never die to point removal unless they cast 6 in a row, 1 for each fading counter. And then the way the Parallax Tide combo works is that if you target 5 lands with Parallax Tide and then you remove Parallax Tide from the battlefield, same thing happens. The least play trigger happens, then the Parallax Tide activations resolve, exiling everything after the leaves play trigger. So the opponent never gets their lands back. So you can execute this with Seal of Cleansing, and you can execute this with just Parallax Wave targeting Parallax Tide if you have Opalescence in play. So get these 3 in your graveyard, cast Replenish, and you have infinite mana because you can flicker and use your lands. You have infinite unkillable 4/4 guy, and that's all good stuff. Your opponent can break it up with a disenchant type effect if they disenchant the Opalescence with opportune timing, but even if they go for that, as long as you stack things correctly, they're going to lose all their lands. So that is Tide combo. So or rather Parallax combo. Shout out to Landy Ho, the inventor of this list. I made some changes. He had a Mox Time and he had a Second Intuition. He had a completely different sideboard, or mostly different sideboard. Some of these cards are the same, but not kind of fun. It's just a Oath deck and whatever. And by the time of this recording, you likely will have seen that I've registered this deck for the PSS, so be sure to check out the PSS on Wednesdays for the next couple months or so on twitch.tv/CloudGoatRanger. Let's jump into some matches. All right. Round 1 on the play. Yeah, it's a mulligan. That's a keep. We have Seal Combo, we have Swords of Plowshares. We have Mulch. Pretty sick. The only thing is we don't have double blue. We're gonna have to work hard to get double blue. The next 2 lands we have to play our blue in order for this to be good. But other than that, not too mad. Hopefully this is a hippie. An arena. It's even better. Oh boy. I love Dark Ritual. Oh man. You ever been on the play and your opponent Dark Rituals and just forces a mulligan on themselves? I mean, this is obviously, the play is pretty hard reward, especially against my deck, but love to see it in this particular case. And we love, wait, should we just play Seal of Cleansing? Because we'll just rip the, we'll just top deck the blue source. Seems reasonable. If we top deck the blue source, I don't even want to Tide for 3, but it's a black deck with discard. I mean, puts them far enough behind. I can start working other ankles of the game. Curious what you would do here. Would you Tide for 3 if you rip the blue source here? Oh my god. Just everything is just getting eaten. Wasteland, huh? Can't E-Tutor for Mox Diamond because I don't have one in my deck. Could E-Tutor for something like Opalescence, but yeah, there's no tutor for card advantage here. I really just want okay, from here it's just E-Tutor for Oath of Druids, so I'll take 5 and then get a monster. I think that's somewhat reasonable. What are the other options? Not E-Tutoring. I mean, my opponent is going to have access to removal, but so the Wasteland actually hurt me because I'm slower to get to 6 to execute my Krosan Reclamation plan. So I haven't offered my opponent any removal options, so it'll be like E-Tutor, take 5, get a Terravore, take 5. So I'll go down to 7 from there, and it's possible for if I don't. Otherwise, I can just E-Tutor for Parallax Wave. and use Parallax Wave to take care of the negator temporarily for a few turns. Or what I can do is I can Tide combo and then Enlightened Tutor. I guess I shouldn't have Wastelanded just because I knew I was going to Tide combo. Okay. So we don't have Replenish available. Parallax Wave is going to save me a lot of life. But Oath has the highest upside. And I could get Oath and also not take any damage from City of Brass. Marginal gain. If I draw another tutor, I can pick up Opalescence. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and get the wave here. Because I can just wave and take things slow for a while. I can permanently remove a separate creature later. I can top deck Enlightened Tutor or Opalescence. It's the third time I've tapped my City of Brass, so if it was a Gemstone Mine, I'd be 3 points richer and 1 land poorer. Let's see if there's a land drop this turn. There isn't. Okay. Opalescence, please. 1 time. Okay. Getting a little flooded. Have to seal the Phyrexian Arena to keep things a little even between us. Yeah, you can dress my Tide. Gives me the option for a Replenish off the top. Mistress Factory in for 2. Fade. Another 1. Pretty good news. Means I can exile the Mistress Factory if I'm really worried about it. This is exposed to another duress effect. So I don't love it here, but I also don't think my opponent's been sandbagging duress too much. I think this Mistress Factory is too slow of a clock to matter, and then I can always draw a Wasteland, of course. Ritual. Another guy. Another negator. Yeah, I'll probably exile that. But let's go ahead and see if I draw Opalescence, right? Treetop Village is not bad. Get the last forest out of my deck. Play a wave. And relax for a turn. So now we have a blocker for the Treetop Village, and we actually have like a blocker for a negator, huh? So I guess I should tuck under the second wave, then I'll get it back. It kind of doesn't matter. It's just like the way the counters work, it doesn't matter. But having this other wave in play is better for, I mean, everything's better for Opalescence because Opalescence is a hard lock against black decks. Fade. I guess if I top deck Replenish, that's the thing that I was thinking about that matters. Yeah, oops. So it would have been better if my wave went to the graveyard for Replenish that turn. Because then I would have been able to take, so that's actually kind of a critical error. Oh, but I have an Oath in my graveyard. Okay, so we're going to execute Tide combo. Opponent's going to float with the floating mana. Opponent does nothing. So we have the option to Seal of Cleansing our Parallax Wave in order to get an Oath trigger. But because my opponent found the swamp, that no longer feels particularly good. Actually, it's the same outcome either way, huh? And then I'll have the other Parallax Wave to fall back. So let's go ahead and do that. But yeah, it would have been better if obviously I could have just waved away the negators and had an extra wave hanging out. But no big deal. We'll just get a giant Terravore. Never mind, we'll get a small Terravore. We'll draw a Krosan Reclamation. Be like, does my opponent want to sacrifice a bunch of permanents? So if their removal costs, if they have like stuff like Snuff Out, obviously those are things to be worried about. Now I have the option to Parallax Wave my own Terravore to go pick up the second one. Parallax Wave, own Terravore, get second Terravore into play. Counter seems better. I wish I had thought about that potential to top deck Replenish, get my wave into the graveyard, wave out the negators, and then just ride this Treetop Village to victory. It's okay, I'm still under some protection, but I think getting the second Terravore is like pretty good. It'll be 2 Terravores versus 2 negators. I could be called to double removal. I think my opponent's removal range likely includes Snuff Out, which is obviously really bad for me because then they'll have 2 negator. I'll have a Terravore against 1 negator. Sacrifice. I'll have Terravore against 2 negators. But I really want to start attacking. And I really need my guys to be big enough. So we'll take a slightly risky line here. Okay. Opponent looks like they're sandbagging removal. Get the big Terravore. There we go. That's a healthy boy. Blue source. And then what do we want to do? Do we want to try to get replenishes back into our library for safekeeping? Vendetta. Yeah, I mean, take 15. So another removal spell does help my opponent. But I have enough mana to go for the game-ending line once my Oath triggers. So we'll trigger Oath targeting you. Yes, please. Whole library. We will Krosan Reclamation, targeting myself, and replenish. And this is kind of a sweet because we even have the ability to flashback Krosan Reclamation next upkeep if my opponent has any funny business, but they do not. Okay, 1 game 1. Kind of a weird navigational thing, but we got there. My opponent has presented plenty of targets for Seal of Cleansing. The real question is if I want something like Rare Revelation. Okay, I don't have to Tide combo my opponent because mono black opponents can't defeat Opal Wave. Krosan Reclamation gets a lot worse when they bring in Graveyard Hate, but I do want to keep the same possibility of comboing up. Oath of Druids might actually be slightly worse. I think my opponent has a pretty interesting split between kind of mid-range and beatdown. It seems like they're really just rituals and negators. Enlightened Tutor is never great against these sort of card, like if we're trading card for card. That turn where it was like possible to tutor for Oath was like pretty like sketch because a removal spell would just put me behind so much in tempo. I'd just get hit for 5 a turn. But obviously putting together the Opalescence Wave combo is like pretty nuts because they sort of don't have an answer. So I think we think about going for Opal Wave as our plan. Bring in the other Seal of Cleansing. I'll bring in our Giving a Fine. I definitely want to bring in Wasteland, so I'll take out Attunement. The rest of these cards seem pretty playable. Like maybe Swords of Plowshares is like slightly redundant. I kind of want Call the Herd in though. I think the plan is going to be to just put Opal Wave together. So I'm going to worry a little bit less about these cards maybe. Not sure. Just kind of time pressure got to me. Because I want Call the Herd to grind through their removal and threaten Phyrexian negators. I think, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say elsewise. Swamp nothing. Love to see it. I've just got Flooded Strand. Opponent passing through their first main. Almost passed through their turn. Withered Wretch. Meet Swords of Plowshares. Especially with this hand. Mulch into Intuition into a Replenish. Okay. Don't hate that. Ooh. Big miss. Disgusting negator. Yeah, that's fine with me. Unless you have something good. It's all ogre. So granted, I do not have the I do not have one of the things that I need. I do not have the wave. So my opponent could do something to me. I'm not sure what it is. But we'll just get Opalescence. I'll get Opalescence wave to guarantee that I get a wave in the graveyard. And then my opponent has to give me Opalescence. I'll replenish back the waves. And they could potentially otherwise I can put 2 Opalescence in play. Is that better? It's an interesting one. So if they have a discard spell, they can get rid of the Opalescence, and then I'll just have 2 waves. So instead, I'll just get 2 Opalescence in play. It'll be 2 4/4s. Turn Phyrexian Arena into a creature. Turn on all their creature removal. I think we'll do Opalescence wave, and then just one time no duress. Because they haven't duressed me this far, so they just have to not have it within their top 2. We also get an Oath. City. Go. Brushland. Replenish. And relax. So opponent has to peel the duress, and then even so, I'm like an Oath of Druids guy, so I'm sort of protected. And I'm even pretty happy to trigger the Oath here because of the situation. Yeah, I want to trigger Oath because if I just wave the negator, then it'll be bad news. And I can always wave my Terravores. I can also seal combo my wave if my opponent has duress here. Mesmeric Fiend. That will not save you. That also will not save you. Okay. We're going to go like this, this, and this. And I'll sacrifice this. And I'll get my trigger for a 1919. I'll fade. I'll take my Opalescence back, please. I've even got Wasteland up. I have 8 cards in library, so my opponent with a mill plan could get tricky with me. So we're just going to execute the wave combo. If you haven't seen it before, it looks like this. You just stack stuff like this, and then you exile itself. It leaves trigger, and then the exile triggers happen. We get our Call to Herds back. We can do this ad infinitum. Can let our opponent keep the Dystopia, of course, because it has cumulative upkeep, pay 1 life. So yeah, my opponent has to have a pretty good burn spell, basically, to get us. Who knows? They could have like a Wrath effect, 3 cards in hand, facing down a giant Terravore. Tormod's Crypt, not a bad start. Get all my Call to Herds. Okay. Oh, I should have saved my Terravore, huh? That's a whoopsies. Phyrexian Negator, okay. Seems futile to me. I can even beat a Mutilate because my Parallax Wave tucks behind itself. But yeah, obviously I should have kept my Terravore alive. We'll get in for 8. Do this. I wonder what my opponent's drawing towards. Wonder what it is. Wonder what it could be. But yeah, that Tormod's Crypt a little too late, huh? I think we'll play a land, but there's no reason to play an elephant. But there's good enough to reason to play Seal Cleansing, maybe? Sure. In case there's like a Curse Scroll. I don't know. In case they can remove 1 wave. I can wave other stuff behind. I'll still have 5 power next turn. Opponent throws up the GGs. Yep, this deck is going to be really good against mono black. It's just how it goes. All right, jumping into match 2 versus Rikikik. On the play again. We are running hot on coin flips. Let's go. All right, this is a little bit of a sketchy hand. We are desperately in need of mana sources. Enlightened Tutor cannot pull lands from our deck. But one thing that this hand is capable of doing is tutoring for Oath if we need it to slow the game down. And if the game is going to be slow, then we'll just execute combos. I think this is close enough to a keep. Don't love how sketchy things are against some potential threats. If our opponent is on like red-green Oath, this hand is horrible. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. This is a hand that I would be... I don't know if I would love to tutor for Sylvan Library with this hand, but it's probably better than, oh my god, blue-white Tron. That's gonna be something. So yeah, we can eventually tutor for Seal of Cleansing, which I guess we should do to set up to play it on turn 3 and see what our opponent does. But yeah, I would love a Sylvan Library. Opponent's going to have natural Tron or some complete shenanigans. I don't know if I would want to like have the potential to mulch Wasteland. Oh, I could Attunement to try and get both lands, get land and the potential Seal of Cleansing. Attunement, and I could just possibly just Attunement into Replenish. Just be completely broken. But I need the Seal Cleansing in the mix, but I'll have the Enlightened Tutor. The Tron deck does have counter spells a lot of the time. So what do we do? How do we navigate this? So we're going to go draw Seal Cleansing. Yeah, I think Attunement is the pick. I'm a little bit weak to random Phyrexian Furnace, but other than that, Attunement basically means that I can guarantee the combo as soon as I find Replenish. So we'll just get Attunement and then start working. Of course, it's a little bit awkward because I want to Attunement, like I want to just draw Replenish for turn, obviously. Would be nice. But what I'm thinking is like I need a tutor for the Parallax. Oh, opponent stuck on 2 lands. Love to see that. I want a tutor for the Parallax whatever. Oh my god. I mean, this Opalescence seems pretty good first though. Getting it on the battlefield seems like pretty good. I don't think my opponent's going to be able to do anything too scary with like a bunch of colorless mana. Like even if they hit Tron, like they just have a bunch of colorless mana and then I can waste them off Tron. So give them a turn to conceivably top deck some luck, but this game's probably over from a lot of angles. Yeah, missing 2 land drops. They were on the draw too. A little rough to be in their spot. Okay, now we have it. But I want to get the wave in. So let's just Wasteland, Tutor Wave. Like, we kind of want to Wasteland a blue source next turn, though. I guess I'm like getting a little too crafty where I don't need to. But who knows? Like, I'm like trying to slam the door on them when I can just shut the door on them. Okay. Didn't have to show our grand plan. Right, against Tron, huh? Well, our Wasteland deck is going to be good against Tron. And I'm not loving this. Definitely board out a bunch of Source of Plowshares. Definitely love Tide. Definitely love whatever. They normally just have Masticore as their Source of Plowshare target. Oath of Druids is somewhat relevant because they have Decree of Justice. What other cards? So it's just like Decree of Justice, a bunch of ways to get Tron, a bunch of ways to counter spells. So why don't we get our Arms Chant Abeyance package in? And I think they're going to board in a lot of disenchant effects, so I'm going to go down on Enlightened Tutor and just play a more fair game. Or give and find. And yeah, we won't have Krosan Reclamation because we're just not going to trigger Oath of Druids that hard. So the plan is to be like a Wasteland Terravore Call the Herd deck, and then maybe be an Opalescence into Tide combo deck. Get this last Seal Cleansing in here for powerful setup. Don't love being leaned into Orange Chant too hard. They don't have like 1,000 counter spells. It's like they have some. This seems fine. I guess they could have a Chroma's Vengeance, in which case I want Karmic Justice. I mean, their lands are just gonna be under so much threat. I think I can just grind them out. Like, I'm just like a better value deck, right? Not sure. Probably an Intuition for a triple color here. All right, game 2 against Blue-White Tron. Yep, little mid-rangey hand. Perfect mana. No Wastelands, don't love that, but I've got a lot of initiative. So we're gonna go Treetop Village, Call a Herd. My opponent could have boarded out their Source of Plowshares, but I showed him the Treetop Village. I almost could have looked like a regular Blue-White Replenish deck. All right, against a blue-white control deck that my opponent kind of looks like right now, my Call the Herd draw is insane. Little Sky Cloud Egg, very far from Tron. They can impulse this turn, which is obviously good, but we are going to be able to take it to them. I do need 2 white sources in play eventually. My Terravore is also going to be a 4/4. So that's pretty nuts. So hopefully they're going to be playing like heavy defense against my enchantments plan, and then a little impulse action, a little bit nothing action. Man, clunky start from opponent. So hopefully my opponent's like defending strong against my enchantments plan, and then they're just going to be really cold to my. I should have played the island, I think. Because I need to wait until I could have wanted double blue. So that's kind of a punt. So Wrath of God answers this quite clean, but if my opponent spends their turn Wrath of Godding, then I don't know. It's not the end of the world. A little Factor Fiction action. A little Stroke for 1. Oh no. Okay, these elephant tokens are just going to go all the way. I am punished though. So I kind of just want to get in, which I can guarantee myself to do. Cool. We are going to be out of Windswept Heath fetchables quite soon. But yeah, let's just attack for 9. Not worried about wing shards here. So yeah, perfect example of the pivot. My opponent trying to defend against Replenish, and I am just called to hurting them out. Like it's like turn 5, I'm attacking for 9. And my opponent has not cast a spell. These don't really count, right? Drawing 1 card isn't really like spell casting. Oh, decree for chump blockers. Kind of a reasonable, good reason to play Parallax Wave in front, but it's okay. Next turn, I actually have the lethal attack for 12. Opponent has nothing. Could see a run back of the previous turn. And yeah, I don't know what my opponent's holding, but it doesn't truly matter. Plow Treetop, take 9. Stroke for Factor Fiction, stroke for 1 again. Take 9. Down to 3, 6 cards in hand. Has done things. Those things haven't really mattered. Mastercore doesn't save you. Swords of Plowshares doesn't save you. Elephants win the day against the blue-white deck. I mean, it's just Call of Herd is just nuts, right? Kind of feel like Call of Herd should have been a Premodern staple, like just immediately. Should have just been like, yes, this is the best card in Premodern. 2 elephants. GG's, Rick. All right, jumping into round 3 versus Arnie von Gallam. We got a little clean hand. We're missing a white Saurus, but hopefully we'll mulch into it. Opponent on a mulligan to 6. And opponent is playing Fluctuator. Okay. Looks like I am going to Wasteland. Don't have Sabo's Web in the sideboard. I do have Orm's Chant and stuff. Opponent playing Smoldering Crater, playing Blasted Landscape. They can go for the ship. They can... Oh, they just exposed to Seal of Cleansing. Interesting stuff. But they can obviously just draw into their next Fluctuator with their hand. But it's fine. It's okay. So I'm going to be mulliganing to Orm's Chant or Abeyance. And I'll have Tormod's Crypt. Respect that. They skid it out, so they must have everything in their hand. Yeah, the second one comes. Oh yeah, they can just ship. Obviously. So for those who are unfamiliar, my opponent is going to draw through their deck. Eventually, they're going to put a black source in play, cast the card Songs of the Damned, make a bunch of black mana, and then cast Drain Life targeting me for the maximum. So our only recourse against this is Orm's Chant or Abeyance. And our opponent can, what they can do against me is they can cast multiple copies of Songs of the Damned to get me. So pretty sick stuff. Drop in the Glass Cannon combo in the leagues. I can also hope that they mulligan to Oblivion. I'm going to have to mulligan to Oblivion, which is hilarious. So, but yeah, cycling, 5 cards left. It looks like they have the deterministic little Songs of the Damned. 25 mana. That's enough to do it. So yeah, this card adds black for each creature, and then they've got all this cool stuff. So they would be able to use their misdirection sideboard plan to get me with Abeyance and Orm's Chant, but I just have to hope that they don't have it. All right, so I have to Tide combo them. Swords of Plowshares does nothing. Oath of Druids actually does do something. So it's kind of reasonable. And Arcane Lab is actually quite good. Although notably they can never just cast 1 spell unless they bring in the Haunting Misery, which just straight does it. But if they do the Haunting Misery, then maybe I can catch them with the Tormod's Crypt. We want all of our Abeyance and Orm's Chant. We want Arcane Find. So we're on the play. So we can Enlightened Tutor for Arcane Lab, which isn't the worst. Terravore is pretty funny because it gets gigantic. Sometimes they hardcast their creatures, which is why I'm keeping Oath. Can I get them with Krosan Reclamation? I don't think I can. Just Krosan Reclamation targeting 4 creatures to stop the cover. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. My Replenish plan still works because if I do Replenish combo then I can at least tide them out So I want this as well to potentially tide them out in the longer games. And stuff that goes in instant speed is generally good. This is definitely a matchup where Aura of Silence is better than Seal of Cleansing. Okay, so if we're going to keep Oath, Terravore, I mean, we don't obviously want that much Oath. Attunement gives me the possibility to Tide combo quickly. But I also need to like kill them somehow. So it's probable that just the Call of the Herd plan is better because it's just more compact. No, my endpoint is just comboing them, I'm pretty sure. Like if they go for just plain creatures, the combo plan's going to be better. Okay, let's give this a shot. At least I know how to mulligan. Yep, I'll play first. Yeah, I'll take my double Orim's Chant hand. Keep. So I have to Orim's Chant in response to Songs of the Damned. It's kind of a funny one. Play Adarkar Wastes, pass. Opponent, Drifting Meadow, pass from me, but I've got Arcane Lab, so feel good about where this is going. Remote Isle. I have a Brushland. I am now on double Chant. Opponent, Slippery Karst. Slippery Karst and Miscalculation mana is up. Brushland. So I'm not going to run into the miscalculation here. That would be a miscalculation. Naked Cycle. Blast Landscape. Opponent going for the grindy plan. I like the chutzpah here. Let's go for an Attunement, I think. My opponent will only have one black source. I think I can wait till I draw one more land for this Attunement, but on the other hand, the only way they can get two black sources into play is if they play a Lotus Petal. So the way that they beat this Orim's Chant would be black source. So the other thing is that if they have the miscalculation, then they can miscalculation plus Songs of the Damned. So, and they have exactly enough mana to execute on that. But I want to do something. Basically, I can Orim's Chant Arcane Lab, or I can just Arcane Lab, or I can sit on double Orim's Chant until, because the only thing is Arcane Lab just doesn't shut off the Haunting Misery. It's kind of a weird one. I think I'm just going to play Arcane Lab through Miscalculation when I get the chance. I can afford to be patient, I'm pretty sure, with this hand. I just have so much protection. All I have to do is not fumble. Wish I could yield to all cycling abilities, but some world in which that doesn't make sense. So yeah, opponent really repping this miscalculation. We'll draw. A Mulch. Green 1 for Mulch. Wasteland, of course, not helpful anymore. But I can hand size some stuff, and I can hand size some enchantments away and then replenish them. I'll have my Seal of Cleansing, so I'm really just looking for Parallax Tide. Play this Wasteland. There's some world in which Wastelanding the black source makes sense. No, it doesn't. Hey, we're getting ready to set up, because now we can Arcane Lab, we can pay, and then we can Attunement and pay. Okay, not a bad spot, I think. So, yeah, and even if they just go for Haunting Misery, I mean, this is a 4/4, so their other pivot is to go for Twilight's Call. I don't know if they've put the Twilight's Call plan into their deck, but this Arcane Lab is going to hose the Twilight's Call quite well. So we're going to cast Tormod's Crypt, because that's nasty against the Twilight's Call plan. And then we're going to play another nasty card, and that should seal the deal. So very hard for my opponent to beat this combination of stuff. Little 3/4, sure. We'll play Attunement, and then we'll be able to attune Replenish to clean up any. Well, what we're going to do is we're just going to attune Replenish until our opponent is like completely ground out. Opponent gets in for 5 mana 3/4 doing work. I mean, I have drawn only Pain lands this game, so that is a thing. Yeah, we got the 4/4 flying. I like the cast your creatures plan against my plan. So we are going to thin first now. Pick up Attunement. Nice, okay. We have the nuts, so Opalescence, Attunement, Mulch, Windswept Heath. What am I targeting? Parallax Wave. Okay, fine. Misclick. I'm holding control. I'm exiling my opponent's team. I'm attacking with Arcane Lab. So opponent, pretty sick. They have executed the alternate plan of this deck quite well, but I drew every hate card. I drew every sideboard card that I had access to. So we're gonna go for a white knuckle next game. What did we learn from that game? We learned that opponent can just play creatures. Some of them are annoying. So yeah, I think it's better to have access to just random Oath of Druids. And I think Argivian Find doesn't actually matter. I mean, Argivian Find lets me put together combos with Mulch, I guess. Sorcery speed, mana stuff was slow because I have to just hold up mana all the time. What? Do I need all this stuff? Okay, so Seal Tide isn't actually like great against them. And then Seal isn't great against them. But the thing is, if I Seal Tide them a bunch, that is good against them. I think my plan of just replenish comboing them eventually is better than stopping the creature onslaught, but those creatures were annoying and they actually brawl with Call of the Herd is the problem. Am I ever gonna have a loose Enlightened Tutor is the only problem? Seems unlikely. Like Argivian Find might be loose. It's hard to say. Let's go for the 1 Terravore plan. 1 Terravore, 2 Oaths. I don't know. Tricky one. Super interesting stuff. Hopefully my opponent has one of those hands where they have to mulligan a lot. Fluctuator should mulligan a lot of the time, but I guess in the post-board games, because they know I'm bringing hate, they're going to keep all their 7s because they're just gonna cycle, go for the cycle wins. Meyer, I'm not gonna mind a Wasteland start. I did put Terravores back in my deck after all. Especially a black source, important. Wastelanding the black source is very good. They need multiple black sources in order to cast multiple Songs of the Damned, which is their way around Orim's Chant and the good stuff. Yeah, if they go for Fluctuator here, they have to have Misdirection, which who knows? Opponent doing their thing. So if it's Haunting Misery, they can get me. No, they can't get me with Haunting Misery. They have to get me with like Twilight. Well, they're gonna go for the Songs of the Damned. But yeah, they're shipping it on turn 3, which is pretty intense. So if they have it turn 3 with protection, I mean, there was not a better time for me to cast Orim's Chant. But the second Songs of the Damned still kind of gets me. Oh, they just played a land. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to draw lands right now. I'm going to play blue to threaten blue spells. But yeah, that Polluted Mire is pretty good for them because they can now miscalculation me. So their hand should just be full of good stuff. There we go. That's a card. I have not seen that pivot. That is a sweet pivot. So if I draw Terravore this turn, which is notably not a Seal Cleansing, I'm going to be super salty. Just a Windswept Heath. Guess we got to go for the Mulch and hope to hit because getting covered by miscalculation no longer matters. Oof, we hit Enlightened Tutor. Okay. So these fetches are fine, I guess, because they still have targets and they grow my Terravores. Opponent going to deal 4, then 6, then 8 damage to me. 6, then 6. So I really need an Enlightened Tutor. But they have no Lotus Petal, no Dromar's Cavern. So if they're just going to try to complete the kill. Interesting stuff. But if I Tide combo them, I'll Tide combo them ever having black on their turn. Unless they have like a random extra Lotus Petal. But they'll have no more untapped black source. Songs of the Damned. Okay, so this is pretty cool. So what's going to happen is they have Songs of the Damned. They're going to be able to activate Lightning Rift a bunch of times. That's nuts. So hopefully their hand is no more creatures, but this is enough cycling to Lightning Rift me out. It's going to force me to cast Replenish, which is crazy. Oh my god, it just like the way it works is just so cool too. Man, get Fluctuated. Cycle, ping. Only 3 more, or only 5 more activations. They just need a not fizzle for 5. And then, of course, I'm forced to get my Parallax Tide into play, and then they can just get me at instant speed, which is pretty impressive. And then they also just have BB, so they could just BB1 me with Haunting Misery if that's in their range. But it looks like they just got me. Miss, opponent, miss! Yep, they got it. Lightning Rift Pivot! Oh, that's so sweet. I was a few turns away. I have to Intuition to set up the Replenish. They also didn't cycle a single miscalculation, so that's something. But yeah, Lightning Rift gets around Arcane Laboratory. All right, round 4, and we are winning every dollar roll, which is not a bad place to be. Should we take those? This hand is probably too slow. Doesn't do anything. This hand is good. What do I want to do? Fetch a Plains. The City of Brass might tie the room together. I'm going to get one of each basic. So I'm just going to go Plains, Forest, Oath. I have City of Brass. I could also just bottom the Enlightened Tutor. I could bottom the Replenish. I think all these are good spells to have. And I think my mana's like fine. I think we'll just take the most robust bottom here. I'll have a little bit of everything. This won't be good against Red Deck or Wasteland, but against Island, there's some. Okay, so against Daze, obviously just jamming Oath is pretty bad, but at least I get an Oath rejam this turn. And then I get a Replenish jam too. So against all manner of Dreadnought or Gro-a-Tog, I'm going to be pretty covered. And this is Gro-a-Tog. The game 1 Oath of Druids is going to be quite good. I'm always going to have options for Enlightened Tutor for Seal Cleansing into Reseal Cleansing. So could be like a Storm deck, in which case I'd have to... Oh, no, it's definitely Gro-a-Tog. Okay, so Gro-a-Tog we have like quite covered. I don't really have to worry about too much at all, really. Because Oath of Druids just kind of stomps Gro. They have to like try to play something, ice my guy, counter the Swords of Plowshare. It's just like there's so many things that need to go right. And I'm just going to tight combo them or get something good on the battlefield. This Enlightened Tutor is quite bad, though, for what it's worth. Flooded Strand for Island seems fine. See if they bite with a random Stifle. People ask me about Stifle a lot in Gro-a-Tog. I don't think it's very good. You're just not really a Delver deck in the traditional sense. But yeah, we're just going to put our opponent on notice here. I could tutor for Attunement, but I guess that's like pretty reasonable because I just have all these extra lands. I don't really want to do anything with them. But I think I'm going to wait till my opponent taps out of Counterspell mana at least, which they're never going to do because they have no incentive, but still. Yeah, they just have no reason to, because they can't play creatures, so this is where we're at. Okay, that second Replenish means I really want to start getting some permanents in the mix. And then if opponent's using my list, then Swords of Plowshares is always a threat here, but no point in doing anything else. And yeah, I'm gonna look for this Attunement soon. Opponent pitches up a Plains. Decides it is time. They're like, well, I'm not getting any, my left total isn't getting any higher. So notably, oh, it just doesn't matter because I'm gonna go jam Replenish, force the counterspell. Island Plains does not cast a lot of counterspells out of the Gro-a-Tog deck though. So we will get our Oath trigger. Okay, so nothing too fancy, but we do have a 6/6 Terravore. I guess there was next turn we can try to Enlighten Tutor something better on top of our library, but we'll start with this. So we'll have we'll kind of force the Gush foil. Our Terravore will go to 7/7. Maybe they can play a Psych Dog, which would be pretty good. But I'm just gonna jam Replenish turn after turn here. Yep. Little foil, got a little 7/7, and we play on. Might not be a bad time to simply Enlighten Tutor for a Parallax Wave, just to get one into our hand. Yep, opponent does have the Plowshares answer. So what's kind of funny about this is that I don't actually, like, because Krosan Reclamation can get countered, I don't want to go for the full mill, but I also have to do what I have to do, so it's what it is. So we have a Meddling Mage. We're probably going to name Replenish. Okay, Mage on Replenish is good. Opponent gets one big hit in with Korean Dryad, and they have the ability to ice me out here. They'd have to double ice me out though, because I have the Treetop Village available as a trump block. But I'm gonna really love how my opponent navigated this game if they pull this out with like a double ice or something. My Oath of Druids could also kill me if Terravore is too low. 3 cards left in library. Yeah, that is certainly not ideal. So we're going to Krosan Reclamation now. So I want to diversify in case my opponent has more good stuff. So I want Plowshares back. I have all Plowshares. No, I still have 1 Plowshares left. Yeah, I'll put up Plowshares back. Parallax Wave actually eats a daze this turn. So it really just needs to be double Plowshares. Yeah, and I don't have any Plowshares in my deck, so I'm going to tap out a green. Plowshares, and we'll draw. Okay, Adarkar Wastes, not it. Okay. I guess I could have counted waves. All my waves are in the graveyard, so I could have put wave Plowshares back in to give me Enlightened Tutor for Plowshares next turn. And I think I should have gotten a Treetop Village attack in that turn. It really, I'm not in danger here. I'm in danger next turn. Okay. I mean, if you name Plowshares, I have a 2020 Terravore, so it has to be ice. Ice for the victory. Interesting. My opponent does not have enough cover for 23. They have 12. Actually, they do have enough cover. I don't have any Tides left. I don't have the Attunement. I don't have any Opalescence left. Actually, I do have 1 Opalescence left. No, I have no Opalescence left. So it's all lands and Plowshares, huh? Okay. I mean, my opponent has to have ice, so maybe I needed to shuffle a wave back in. I think that would have been reasonable for fear of this happening. Exactly. No reason not to play the Flooded Strand. Could potentially grow my Terravore. Gonna have the chump block ready. So they ice this turn. Okay. They should have attacked with Korean Dryad then. Maybe they're just gonna ice me until they ice me until I deck. Two have been used. So I did think to myself that the Swords to Plowshares would be a thing here, like that they would mage themselves off their own Swords to Plowshares. Oh, they're gonna kill the Terravore. We kill the Terravore. They have 1, 2 plus 7. That's 9 activations. So they need all 9 activations. So yeah, I should have been serving with Treetop, I guess. My Terravore will actually shrink. I think they got me. I think I needed that P-Wave, huh? Damn. Whew. Rough mistake. I mean, not a good run out, obviously, but rough mistake. They survive, crack back for 17. They have to lose the Dryad this turn, right? Okay, we play to our outs. Okay, ice is good enough. Ice is good enough. I mean, I guess I could have given the opportunity to make another mistake. Okay, so this one's kind of an interesting one. Land actually boards out the Oaths because the Gro-a-Tog player is going to have a plan to basically beat Oath. I'm more into taking out the Tide package, but what land also did against me was cut me off colored mana for the entire game, which was pretty potent. I just kind of blundered, just put P-Wave in my deck. I wanted to draw Plowshares that turn, was the problem. Like I was like giving myself a 1-turn window where I was just like, okay, well, I just have a high likelihood of drawing Plowshares, so that's what I want to do. But given my hand, I think that might have been the mistake. So I think I'm going to trim on Enlightened Tutors because they're just too much card disadvantage. So I'm going to start there. Take out 1 Tide. Intuition isn't great, and I actually don't love Attunement for the same card disadvantage reason. I'm going to like all my lands because my opponent has the Threat of Armageddon. That lets me bring in the Abeyance and the Argivian Find. I could consider Orim's Chant to push through replenishes too, but I like all my other cards more. Maybe Seal Tide is bad. I'm going to have like an oath-driven plan. I think that's fine. It's a little different than how we drew it up, but we do what we want. And I'm also never going to play more than 4 lands. Well, turn 1 Meddling Mage. Question is if I slow down to play around days. I don't want to. I wonder if my opponent can tempo me out. Oath of Druids doesn't matter. Plow that. No days. Opponent is a fan of my work. I think days is pretty weak. It's like really hard for the Gro-a-Tog player, I think, to kill me like in no time, basically. 1 P-Wave in the graveyard. More fetch lands to fuel the Terravore. Portent is okay. If they, well, no, they're going to play an island. They'll have Counterspell up. I can stick a Counterspell on my Terravore, and then I'll just be sitting here doing nothing. Pass back is not great either. I think Jam Terravore is fine because like I have 4 costs that I want to get in. You know, I could draw a Call the Herd too. Opponent second Portent, they're tapped out of counterspells, so Terravore will get through. The fact that they named Oath of Druids with their Meddling Mage gives me the notion that they have Swords to Plowshares in their hand. Oh, no second land drop. That Windswept Heath can no longer get anything. Awkward. Especially in the face of potential Armageddon. We carry on. There's the Plowshares. Two blew up. We'll play. So my painless mana sources are going to be a higher priority against the potential of Armageddon. The Psychotalk here is pretty interesting. I obviously don't have an answer, and it's one of the best cards against Terravore. Gush is pretty good. Could be over quick. Counterspell up. 1 island, 3 cards in hand. Oh, Quirion Dryad. Okay, we need a lot of good stuff. Oh, it's a start. I mean, it's a good draw. It's one of the best draws I could have asked for. Don't want to get end. Don't really see the point of just putting a random blue source in. Can cast everything that we draw. Just need stupid Call of the Herd. I guess I should play the Windswept Heath. My Attunement's in the sideboard now. Opponent 3 cards. 1 of them is an island, so they're a little flooded. And they don't have like a ton of Psychotog leverage, so we're back to having some time. We're really threatening with our full grip at least, but we just don't have any. This is like, it's not the spot that you want to be against Gro-a-Tog because their counter spells are likely going to just be able to catch up with whatever you're doing, and then it's going to be hard for me to engineer turns. Like I said, I really just need Call the Herd. Call the Herd to start grinding. Oh, I guess I should have kept Intuition for that purpose, to keep Dumbo Drop in my deck. That probably would have been better. Yeah, Orim's Chant is not it. Meddling Mage is pretty threatening. At least I've used 2 Plowshares. But yeah, this is not the run out I needed. They name Oath, which once again means they could have some Plowshares action in their hand, and their clock is sped up by this Meddling Mage. Okay. We're gonna go for the upkeep Plowshares here, and we have to plow the Meddling Mage. This is a good counterspell target. They have a good clock with a Meddling Mage in play. Otherwise, I mean, I could have baited them into like a full discard, and then I just go Chant Plowshares or something. But yeah, I can handle 1 damage at a time with the threat of the potential 6/10. Guess it's starting to be a problem. Okay, do I want to Chant Oath? Just run into a Disenchant, my opponent with a lot of cards in hand. They elected not to counterspell on the Plowshares. No, because I really want to Chant Replenish if I draw Replenish. Tricky one, I could also just pass. I mean, my opponent is indicating that they have counterspells up. I would have countered Plowshares, but I'm also threatening like a very scary hand. I think that if my opponent had like Ray of Revelation in their hand, they wouldn't have named Oath of Druids, but maybe they were scared of their own Plowshares. I'm also down to my last few turns. My opponent can pump for 10 extra damage, so they just need a Gush to get in. So it might just be time to send. I wish this was an Abeyance, but it's possible that this should just be a different sideboard card altogether. A little bit I probably made my deck worse against Gro-a-Tog compared to, so I've played against Landy Hoath twice with Gro-a-Tog myself, and both times I went to 3 matches and I won once and I lost another. So it's definitely a close matchup, but Landy Hoath felt pretty favored. I took out Wrath of God from the sideboard, which was really good. Obviously, I punted game 1 a little bit. I don't know if I would have won that game, but it certainly wouldn't have hurt to try. And yeah, it looks like we'll get the Terravore, and I'm down to 11 cards in library. Well, would have been nice, huh? So what do I do here? Do I start casting Call the Herd? My opponent will get their own Oath triggers. My Oath triggers are useless now. My Krosan Reclamation is sketchy at best, thanks to the good stuff that they have. I can jam straight into a counter spell right now on this turn. They have 5 mana up. Armageddon looms. Armageddon obviously not great here. If I jam Replenish, I only have 1 more left in my library. Call the Herd to give them Oath trigger seems pretty bad. I don't want to be in a spot where they can just ice Psychotog for lethal. So jam Replenish into counterspell, hope to draw well, or just Desperation, go for 1/2 plus 1, 2, 3. So I need to actually set myself to be able to Desperation Krosan Rec. So I need 7 lands going into next turn. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be 6 and then 7. Plays around days. No reason not to. And then otherwise I'll just have to make Call the Herd beat down the name of the game. I need to get counters out of their hand, and I can only cast 1 spell a turn, so that is my thinking. Hard cast foil, to be expected. So they should go the whole turn cycle here. I guess they can threaten the lethal Tog. Are we just at a stalemate? Because my opponent can... We're just Mexican standoff with Tog versus Vor. Okay. Opponent with Dryad. This might be a Mexican standoff. I really can't attack. I can flashback Call the Herd. Both my islands are gone, so this Flooded Strand no longer picks anything up. 3 cards in hand. Let's talk this through. If it's Plowshares, well, the other thing that we need to talk through is the fact that I have 5 cards in my library. And only one of them is a Replenish. Both my Orim's Chants are gone. So the question becomes, how many elephants feel safe for me to start attacking with Terravore? My opponent's representing 1, 2, 3 plus 6, 9, so that's 10, 11 damage. So they would need to find 4 more damage. Pretty easy with 2 cantrips. So we're going to flashback the first Call the Herd and pass. If my opponent kept in a lot of plows and ices, that's like one thing that would be kind of like a way for them to beat through this. And they could, of course, double plow elephant tokens to get through. Use my Oath trigger to their advantage. Krosan Rec, we knew that it was in the range. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I need to play another land. And I think Wasteland's a good candidate. And what we're going to do is just Krosan Rec a bunch of differently named good stuff into my deck. Do we make an elephant? Then we have 3 blockers. My opponent has to get through. Okay, I'm low on time. I need to win 2 games, so let's just dial in. Give them the Oath trigger, Psychotog, but they still have to get through 3. But they can just like find another Psychotog, find another Dryad. I don't think I can give them the Oath trigger yet. A little gush action. Pretty scary. So if they have ice plus Plowshares, then they'll get me. Gush nothing, huh? So I have a Replenish in my deck. So I want another. So I have a Replenish and a Plowshares in my deck. So I really want Parallax Wave. And I guess I'll just go for second. Everything wins the game, but Replenish wins the game the hardest, probably. So we have a Krosan Reclamation ready. And we can also get this Abeyance at some point. Just going to jam. Jam. Okay. Plowshares, Terravore. What's their plan for this? Trinkle Domain? Gush. I mean, they can't even Armageddon. Well, they can Armageddon next turn through a Mox Diamond, but okay, well, never mind then. Maybe opponent hasn't seen the combo before. The Tide is still in my deck, which is kind of fun. Okay, we have 5 minutes to win the next one. Okay, opponent showed me no enchantment or artifact removal. Disrupting their colored mana is like, it's just so narrow. I hate it. Orange Chant was so bad. It's like the only thing I want to Orange Chant through is Replenish, but they can just like get so much in front of it. They can get Meddling Mage in front of it. They can do a bunch of stuff. It doesn't draw a card. It's really frustrating. Mulch ended up being super awkward, but it's fine. They never had Armageddon. I was in a weird like trigger my own Oath situation, but Oath is still pretty important, I think. I mean, Orange Chant is too important, right? Because it allows me to safely force through Krosan Reclamation Replenish with the Oath trigger on the stack. Seal Cleansing just feels really bad. Tutor's still not great. It's like I can fit this in, but at the cost of this, and it's like these are like, it's very similar. I can do that, or I can do one for Wasteland as well. Tough stuff. Intuition for Dumbo Drop, not the craziest thing here. Yeah, I think Wrath of God is like a big difference maker. Maybe I'll just do this. I needed the I needed to be able to like attune that game with all the lands. Just loot all my fetch lands. Plowshare start, Mulch start. Not the best because of my mana. Opponent not on their best start either. Treetop Village is a nice first turn play though. So I can start taking the initiative quite quickly. Okay, Mulch. Hopefully find a natural green source. Mulch for 2. I think I'm going to be happy to pitch this Windswept Heath, although I haven't fetched anything out yet, so maybe we just pitch the Wasteland. We have all our colors. We have plenty of blue. Yeah, Windswept Heath. We're going to get all the basics out of my deck eventually, so Mage. So the biggest thing that Mage has done here is just trade for Plowshares. Yeah, they're being nifty with that one. Do I want to work towards playing P-Wave soon? Not exactly. Do I want to mulch for low value? Also not exactly. But I can mulch into Call the Herd. Ooh, both Opalescence and a Plowshares, huh? Okay. Both Opalescence is actually quite awkward, but yeah, I don't know. I think I needed to draw Call the Herd. That's like the first start, and then just not having Wrath of God is different. I mean, like playing from the Oath side, I actually feel super awkward, but I also think that Meddling Mage is like kind of like a challenge for this deck. Or Meddling Mage was more challenging than I expected, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay, we have to get a white source in play, which is a little awkward. Treetop Village is going to be on defense for a turn, maybe. Or just in general, or forever. Could be. My opponent is not playing like they have Armageddon anywhere. Okay. That's just a big mistake. Okay, so we'll pick up this island because the Natic green source is fine. Oh, we're going to hand size. Awkward. Okay, we'll hand size this Wasteland. They're not playing any of their City of Brass. They have white mana. Oh, I guess I should have kept the Wasteland because, oh, well, now it doesn't matter. So, Quirion Dryad incoming. Yep. And several Plowshares. I think they flooded out. I don't know how many cantrips they're running in their deck. Okay, so should we start working towards double Treetop Village tax at the risk of getting Armageddon? No time like the present. They also didn't present a counterspell. Okay. That's pretty good for me. Okay, so they're just flooded. They do have Rare Revelation. In for 6, obviously I want Oath in play, but after Armageddon, I mean, I don't know, Armageddon gets me. Needed to, I hold a mulch until after the Armageddon. But all the lands I just get anyway. It doesn't matter. Draw a card. Beat down. Lands are good. Man, tight match. Still could lose. Armageddon still gets me. Gosh, Armageddon really gets me. I like hand size 2 lands this game, by the way. Not my finest work. Psychotalk, double threat. Okay. Oh, shoot. The Psych Talk kills me. Okay, I can't play around Armageddon anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have exact mana for an activation. This Ray of Revelation gets me. Oh, shit. How do I navigate this? I have 152 on the clock. Let's just start playing spells, I think. Okay, I'm just going to go quiet because I have to focus. Another Ray of Revelation. That certainly stops my ability to do something good. 10, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 activations. They exiled the other Ray of Revelation. Oh my god. My heart is like beating out of my chest. Okay, I mean, Ray of Revelation's good against my deck, but damn. I just need Wrath of God is the problem. Oh, that's why you have Wrath of God on the sideboard. But it's like just for Gro-a-Tog. Like, crazy. Okay, match 5, Blazing Through. Against Apathetic. Oh, no die roll win. The luck is turned. Crazy match against Gro-a-Tog. Just gotta grind him out, I guess. This hand is super borderline, but once I find blue mana, my attunement becomes really good. So I'm just gonna keep it and let it ride because I have the Plowshares. If I didn't have the Plowshares, I'd mulligan. Okay, could be Red Green Oath, could be Burn. We won't know yet. Fetches for a mountain. Seems like it's Burn. Burn is one of the only decks. Well, now it's Burn for sure. So if I draw a blue source eventually, I wouldn't mind that. Might have to play double green for getting this Terravore down. Let's see if they run the Ball Lightning in. We'll Incinerate. Them sticking the first damage of the game on turn 2 isn't the worst for me. And Sulfuric Vortex. Fan of Spike Colony. Okay. So I think a 4/4 Terravore is in order. That's kind of the only way I can see myself getting out of this game. Unfortunately, it means I have to get hit by Ball Lightning. Really wish I wasn't on the draw of this game. 2 damage here is going to hurt. Forest is not a bad draw. I really can't hold up this Plow, but it might be the only way that I can win. If I get hit by Plow, I lose, and the Sulfuric Vortex is just putting too strong of a clock on me. Because I just pass, then I play Terravore with white mana up, then I can play Parallax Wave. 4 cards in my home opponent's hand, so they can represent 12 damage on average with their hand. This Terravore is not even going to race them. I'm going to get the Terravore down and then open up the opportunity to plow my own Terravore. Of course, can't plow my own Terravore because of Sulfuric Vortex being just the best card ever made. And notably, I can't even Parallax here, so hopefully my opponent's Next sequence is Barbarian Ring nothing, and then I draw Seal of Cleansing, and then they just continue to flood out or something. No, that is the Ball Lightning. Take 6, go down to 7, go down to 5. My opponent with 2 cards in hand. I guess if I was going to block with the Terravore no matter what, I had to hold up Plowshares. We just need to find a Seal of Cleansing, I guess, or a Blue Source and a Miracle. Don't love my burn matchup, but it is workable. Shock. Down to 5 effective. Hopefully now is when my opponent plays another Ball Lightning, and that's all they do with their turn. No, they have 3 cards in hand. Pup. Yeah. Must respect the pup. Need them to draw a dead. I need to draw natural planes would be good. No, I'm pretty much locked from here. If I took 4 extra damage, I would just be dead, right? Just Ball Lightning. Whatever. Just don't be on the draw. Didn't win the coin flip when I needed it most. Of course, opponent didn't play lands that turn, so it means they have spells. Full pass. Taking their sweet time. Man, what a card. How much damage did that deal to me? 6? Pretty broken. Wait, no, 8, actually. Super broken. Okay. We do have a plan. This is our plan. Normally do something like this. Kind of like the rest of these cards. Kind of need the rest of these cards. Krosan Rec isn't very good. Call the Herd is probably better here than Oath. I just need my cards to do stuff. Tormod's Crypt doesn't really get value here. All right. Let's find some Enlightened Tutor in our opening hand. And good mana. Okay. Let's boogie on the play. Horrible, horrible draw. Treva's Ruins, really not it. This plan is not much better. Have to decide how far we will mull for a Enlightened Tutor into Circle of Protection Red. This just doesn't do enough. Plow something, call a herd. Take damage each time. Damage, damage, damage. Yep. Okay, we're keeping this. We have the right lands. Do I want second Mulch more than I want Seal Cleansing? Probably not. Seal of Cleansing can gain life effectively. It also gets under Sulfuric Vortex, which I'm a fan of. A little pup, no fear. I like when they don't fear the Oath of Druids. I think it's a pretty good way to be. So we'll play this Seal Cleansing now. Play the Mulch now. Nothing I can really get in my yard that I'm that excited about. But yeah. Makes me want to have Oath, obviously. But, okay. They really have the creature plan. Now I regret everything. Call the Herd one time. Intuition. Can't cast that yet. Land. I'm not liking life. Not even a Call the Herd for my trouble. What could have been done? Too efficient. Too efficient. 5 cards in hand. Just like, God. Disgusting. Little Flame Rift action. Insult to injury. Don't even know what I want to draw. Just Call the Herd. Jesus Christ. Oh, buddy. Burn is too good. Burn is doing burn things. I'm just dead. Another Flame Rift. I mean, Flame Rift's good against me. That's for sure. I wonder if you should play Flame Rift sideboard in decks like in matchups where you just like want gasoline. Yeah, that'll do. GG's apathetic. Can't even look at my top cards. Okay, final match versus Mago Exaltado. And we are going first with all the good cards in our opener. The Exalted Mage. Wonder if they're going to play some Exalted Angel. Opponent on Windswept Heath. Opponent. Swamp. Dress. Dress is good. Dress does get rid of the Oath of Druids problem momentarily. Interesting. They prioritize Swords to Plowshares. I'm not sure what to make of that. I guess they're playing the black-white deck instead. Not going to change too much, I think. Well, now with Replenish, I really like ditching this Seal of Cleansing and then just waiting till I have a Tide. I'm going to get a Forest just so my mana sources are redundant. My opponent is a Vindicate deck, so they could go after my lands. Opponent has Wasteland. They're looking more like Dead Gael now. Gonna relax. I do have Tide. Well, this covers me against any potential Phyrexian Arena shenanigans, so I have every type of permanent covered. Doesn't hurt. Oh, Port. Pretty good against my City of Brass. Adarkar Wastes, yeah. Soon we will be able to Tide combo and then Tide combo again soon. Real question is if I would rather Tide combo or Seal of Cleansing. Oh, they're just playing a Ponza deck. Okay. That is different, but we can certainly mulch our way out of this. Treetop Village our way out of this. I like my lands. Ritual? It's for 6 total mana. Rain of Tears. Let's see what their win con is. If their win con might just be my City of Brass. Kind of funny and interesting. I got 14 turns though. I'm not too worried. I have a deck that contains Mulch. Destroy target non-swamp. Oh, I took 2 from the Choking Sands. That's their win con. So far I just look like a 3-color mid-range deck. They haven't seen my Replenish action yet. Just gonna pass back. Slow Death, opponent. Continuing on the port plan. We have a basic Plains. Probably have to play it. I'm gonna work myself up into an Upkeep Intuition, which is going to get some Mulches maybe. Probably. Icequake, they're going for full 12 here. Flooded Strand. I guess that's the land that I probably would have wanted to use. So that's one reason that I can hold my Plains. Opponent 3 cards in hand, just a port. I wonder if they can just like close with a Corrupt or something like that. That'd be crazy. Okay, basic Plains. Just gotta keep working. Yeah, opponent's gonna keep on also working. Let's see if I take another 8 turns. Interesting. I have a Wasteland. And I can intuition my way into the Mulches, but I can also make that the last time that they port me. So I think I should have shipped the intuition that turn. I was just kind of yielding without thinking. I think I'll sit back. Forest Plains. So I only have Plains. Forest Plains. I have no more Plains in my library. It's important to note. So opponent looking to rain again. Rancid Earth. Okay, I'm down to 6. 2 mana for a Sphere of Resistance. Okay, in that case, I'm just going to relax. I mean, they have the maximum stuff, but if I didn't have City of Brass, they wouldn't have had a clock. So right now they don't have a clock. I'm sort of priced into holding this Wasteland until they potentially show me like a Mistress Factory or some nonsense like that. I guess I have Mistress Factory covered with my Swords of Plowshares. There's the Mulch I've been looking for. So again, not loving life right now with no Plains in my deck. So I needed to just be a little bit more guarded about it. All right, let's see if this is a win con. Phyrexian Scuda. It is not a win con. Okay, I'll go and get the island. I guess I'm vulnerable to a removal spell now. I hadn't thought of that. Just like some creature removal. Obviously, if I had Plains, life would be better, but you don't choose what your life is like. So I have no more white sources in my deck. That's the problem. So I'm going to have to... I mean, I'm just like dead to my opponent's random smother or something, so doesn't really matter, but we play on in case they don't have it. Just card cast Snuff Out for 5 mana maybe. Icequake. So now I have a 16/16 Phyrexian Scuda, or I have a Scuda against my Terravore. So if my Terravore is only 21 and they block, I still live. But it certainly seems like they're just gearing up to cast a removal spell, so they're probably dead. Is Treva's Ruins better? Treva's Ruins means I can cast all my spells, but it dies to Wasteland. I mean, I guess... No? What's happening? Am I really getting there? Do they have something for attackers? Okay, I count 16 damage over this. Okay, my opponent's cast every Stone Rain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Stone Rains. and then died to Oath of Druids till as old as time. Okay, Karmic Justice is good. Enlightened Tutor certainly seems reasonable. Wasteland is good. I do like Seal of Cleansing because of the Zero Resistance. Do I need so much Oath of Druids? So I actually don't want Enlightened Tutors because I have to like draw lands. Like even though Opal Wave combo like gets some, I think I'm pretty much my opponent's just playing a like 16 land destruction spells, so Enlightened Tutor doesn't help me in that regard. Do I want Call of the Herd? I mean, Plowshares definitely was rotting in my hand there. I think Call of the Herd is almost better than Plowshares, or better than Oath. If my opponent's just gonna hang out for like all day and then just play Phyrexian Scuda, like, I don't know. The Oath of Druids won me that game though. They can't remove it once it's on the battlefield. It's kind of broken. What if we never play the Krosan Reclamation plan because we'll never have 6 lands in play? Do it like this so we can intuition for triple Call the Herd. I like lowering my curve. Oh, maybe I'm never casting Opal Wave is the idea. Who knows? I mean, I'm playing my Mulch deck against my opponent's land destruction deck, so I feel like that should do it. Should be fine. No turn 1 duress is good news for me. Happy to start on a Treetop Village. Contemplating sandbagging this Mulch for a while. Don't need to cast it when it could potentially hand size me. Sphere of Resistance, getting in. Don't even have the option to cast Mulch. Attunement, not a bad draw with Replenish all ready to go. So I have to protect my dual lands more than my regular lands. Island is the least valuable land that I have. Opponent putting themselves 1 mana back from casting land destruction, so I've got plenty of lands to go. Land destruction is of course the same as using their port as well. Dark Ritual into Ponza spell is pretty intense. Oh, Scuda. Oh, can't cast Scuda under a Sphere of Resistance like that, yeah. Big oops. We'll settle for Icequake. Karmic Justice. Don't hate it. So I guess I can Mulch, go to hand size, not the end of the world. Opponent passing. Doesn't have the 4th land to go for a Ponza spell, so if they miss again, I get to put an Attunement on the battlefield. Or a Seal of Cleansing is even better. Or actually, Karmic Justice is the best, right? Oh, wait, no, they need a double miss. I'm only going to be able to Mulch. And Mulch I will if I don't draw a land. If I draw a land, then I'll relax. Or no, if I draw a land, I'll Seal of Cleansing. Actually, I Seal of Cleansing no matter what. Okay. Stay balanced here. Don't want my sources to be disrupted. My opponent can't put me off anything except for blue, which obviously doesn't matter with regards to this. With regards to Windswept Heath. Yep, opponent stuck on lands. Taps the Treetop Village. I'd love a non-City of Brass land here. Wasteland is the best one. So we are going to just Wasteland this turn. And our opponent is going to be under their own or pretty hard. Oh, bad Mulch. Mulching away my Mulches, no. Hate to see it, but it's fine. I have a Karmic Justice, I have a Replenish, I have an Attunement. No amount of Dark Ritual can get you out of here. And now they are locked out by Karmic Justice. Any Ponza me is going to be Ponza them. Discard Sphere of Resistance. Flashback Call of the Herd. Our Mulch drew us the wrong half of Call of the Herd. Didn't even hit any enchantments, but obviously I boarded out all my enchantments. And yeah, they are feeling that Dark Ritual life right now. Don't see a reason not to just press the life total here. I guess I could have played the City of Brass and played a Seal of Cleansing or whatever. They're like, man, it sucks to be mana screwed. Being mana screwed sucks. Yeah, that's the price you pay. All right, and that's a wrap on Land D Hoath. Solid deck. A match against Gro-a-Tog was probably the craziest one, but I also shouldn't have punted game 1. That was not ideal. Still kind of learning and getting a feel for the deck. Kind of like a lot of what it's doing. You've got these sort of like kind of good, kind of synergy cards. So you're just like medium synergy, right? Mulch, Attunement kind of likes Mulch. Replenish likes Attunement. Intuition likes Replenish, obviously. These cards kind of like being, Opalescence like Wave. Seal Cleansing likes whatever. It's like a network of synergy. Some spots where, against burn, like so few of your cards matter. Like just Plowshares and Enlightened Tutor, Oath to some extent, but you're really just trying to tide combo them as fast as possible. And when you're in that spot, mana base not doing you favors. So tricky one against Fluctuator, same sort of thing, but any deck where Oath of Druids is live, you're like pretty sweet. You just punch a little bit harder. You clock your opponents a little bit faster, because once you get like against regular Terravore-Oath decks, sometimes they get that first Oath trigger and it's like a small Terravore, not that big of a clock. I always put out Terravores that have at least 10 power, or not always, but most of the time put out Terravores that have 10 power, put a lot of pressure on my opponents, and then also threaten, now that I've got fully stocked graveyard, to just rip off Replenish on them. So that was pretty cool. I think Enlightened Tutor was pretty solid and interesting in that one spot. I think I Enlightened Tutor for Parallax Wave, because Oath would be too slow. There was some moments where I kind of felt like I wished I had Shard Phoenix, or not in this league, I guess. Just in general, talking about the deck, I kind of like the idea of Shard Phoenix, because you get that reset on the board. But the problem is, this mid-range deck, Terravore is the best mid-range Oath threat, right? Because it brawls with opposing Terravores. You can cast it easily. And it loses a little bit of its substance against goblins and elves, but it can still crush goblins pretty hard, especially with Swords of Plowshares backup. So probably keep tweaking the list, but felt pretty solid. My City of Brass did like 10 damage to me against Rishon and Port, so I was not a fan of that. Might have to go back to the Gemstone Mines, maybe. Kind of a weird one. Yeah, Oath really strong. Replenish combo, pretty strong. Kind of gas out sometimes. I think that's the roughest thing about Mulch, is that Mulch will never draw you cards, right? Unless it's a Call to Herd. So you kind of, if you're in a situation and you really want one of these cards in your hand, Mulch doesn't help you get there. So you're still sort of naturally drawing tutors and stuff, and it's possible that an opponent could sort of grind with you, but they have to be a really grindy deck for what it's worth. So, and then post sideboard you'll have the power of Call the Herd. So I don't know, kind of want to get some deep analysis in there, something to think about. My Circle of Protection strategy just didn't beat red, so red's kind of a bad matchup. Probably have to play warm to play some more hate. But Landy Hoath, sweet deck, and 4-2, not a bad record. I guess that mono black deck is neat idea, but it's obviously not a huge part of the metagame. And I mulched for 0 against it and still won because I just drew lands. Classic way to beat Ponza, just draw lands. And trying to think about the other matches, but winning ain't bad, and maybe you just need to work on the combo and burn matchup a little, and you'll have a good recipe. All right, thanks for watching. Oh, and also, if you want to support these videos, and you want to support the podcast, and you want to support written material on spikecolony.com, please consider buying me a coffee. Link is in the description. Your membership or donation will help me maintain the website. Tell my wife, I'm like, hey, I got a podcast. Can you give me a couple hours off hanging out, et cetera, et cetera. But you're under no obligation to donate. We are never going to paywall any content for you. So, donate if you can, if you have the means. But if it's not, no big deal. Just appreciate you supporting the content, commenting, engaging, sharing with your friends, all that good stuff. So, yeah, thanks.